I had an experience while I was talking to my shrink the other day. Basically, anyone who's spoken to a really good psychiatrist, speaking to a psychiatrist is much different from speaking to a counselor. A counselor will sort of ask, and how did that make you feel? And a psychiatrist will say, this is how you felt. And they're always right. Saku, thank you, and Peiying, thank you very much. They're always right. I'll never forget this conversation I was having with him, where I was going over some of my experiences, and one big thing that I brought up, which I think kind of really informed one of his decisions regarding something that I'll tell you guys about later, is that I basically said, yeah, I struggle very much to be the first person to initiate something. Socially, I think beginning friendships and relationships is really, really difficult for me. Pei-chan, thank you very much. And to me, it's like, if I'm at a party and I don't know anyone, I won't talk to anybody. I just kind of stand in the corner and I wait for someone to come and approach me and all that. And I kind of talked about that and I said, yeah, you know, and also I can be a bit of a pushover sometimes. If someone wants me to do something, I'll just sort of make myself do it, you know, and I'll panic and stuff and I'll do that. And I said to him, I think it's because I'm like quite high in openness, you know, and that's what I said. And he just said, well, no, you just have very low self-esteem. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, well, if you want to say it like that, Phoenix, Chi-Hang, and Aura, thank you very much. But he was absolutely right. And it's very interesting to hear something be said to you with such honesty, but to know deep down, it's like, yeah, he's right. You know, it helps a lot to have to talk to someone who has spoken to so many people who go through things like what you go through every day, and to the point where they can recognize these patterns and kind of untangle the mess that's upstairs. It's really incredible. The most eye-opening part of this whole experience is the fact that I had to become a member of NIJISANJI EN and do all of this work and make all this money and work as hard as I have and try all of this and talk to people who encourage me and everything, just to be given a name to what I've been dealing with, right? There are so many barriers in life to real healthcare, so many barriers that you need to knock down, and I feel incredibly privileged to have been able to walk into it as easily as I have. And it wasn't easy technically, because I, you know, needed to build myself up to the point where I felt like I could do it, and I needed to be able to afford it. You know, this kind of treatment is very expensive. And I'll tell you, I've been through, obviously, because there was a time not too long ago where I was, you know, really not doing very well financially. And I was going through this country's sort of freely provided mental health care, you know, and you're on a waiting list for maybe a year, and you speak to a counselor over the phone, and, you know, and then as soon as they think you're sort of feeling better about whatever situation you're in right now, they just kind of cut the therapy off with your permission, and then you move on with your life. And I'm gonna be honest, it never really helped. It never really helped. So it kind of blows my mind that the only real help that I've gotten so far is one that I've paid a large amount of money for. It's really insane how much it takes to actually get real certifiable help. So I don't know. I think what I want to be able to do, if I had a dream, I don't know what the kind of if I had some kind of an initiative in place where we could fund diagnoses and treatment for some people, I think that would make me pretty happy. Maybe that's something to consider once being a member of NIJISANJI is well and truly behind me and I have my own free time. If I could put my money somewhere and make it count, I think that would be pretty cool, because, I mean, sometimes the things that go on in people's heads can take their lives quite easily. Why is that given less attention than any other form of healthcare? And I know it's not the case in some parts of the world, but why should immediate medical care be only afforded to certain cases? Why should people who are struggling have to wait so long or have to pay so much money just to understand what was going wrong? I mean, I know somebody who got diagnosed with something, and we're thinking it's what I've got as well, who spent their whole life not knowing, spent their whole life going to school, going to work, not knowing why they couldn't do things right. And people would call them lazy and unproductive and stupid all the time, and yet all they had was something they couldn't control, right? That's a tragedy. It's a real tragedy. And if I could do anything to kind of offset that and give just a few more people a chance at avoiding that, maybe young people going into the rest of their lives avoiding maybe an entire lifetime of having something that goes undiagnosed, untreated, and leaving them completely unable to help themselves. If I could do that for just a small handful of people, maybe more, then that would be pretty great in my mind.